Gabriel's house, the Kingdom Centers, was birthed out of the incredible number of stories of the people that so inspired me. And they have more courage than anyone that I know. You know, when you end up in that situation where you're homeless, and you still get up in the morning and, attempt to take a step of faith, I have to say to myself, could I do that? Yeah. Here in the state of California, we have 17% of the population in the country, but half of all the homeless live in our state. Wow. And that number is growing at 16% a year. So, you know, the traditional ways we address this are not enough. They're all good solutions, but they're not enough. So we started a Kingdom Center. And our first one was a hotel that we completely transformed, and we let the faith community get involved. And that was for families. So we had husband and wives, we had single dads with their children, and a lot of single moms with their children, and that was kind of a mixed community, still going on. And then Gabriel's house was a place just focused on the most vulnerable among us, which is the women, right? And women with children. Yeah. Gabriel's house is really starting to really flourish. And it's time for this dream to be watered and to be expanded. And I'm praying we can be a part of solving this crisis in the state.
I was in the process of moving down here from Joshua Tree area by a cousin. And I had been coming back and forth, putting my stuff into storage, trying to make sure I had employment and a place to live. And I rented a room from somebody. I'd given them the deposit and a little bit of the rent. And I was supposed to move in on August 8th. And I had my dog with me, and they didn't want my dog, so I had to take my dog back to Tucson by my mom. And when I got back, they had gotten rid of all my stuff. They threw a lot of valuable things away. They didn't give me my money back, and I was homeless. I mean, I was overwhelmed.
Well, Dawn, tell me about that moment where you realized you were going to be sleeping on the street that night in your car.
I was in shock. I was in shock for a while. I was overwhelmed. I didn't want to let my mom or my kids know. I didn't want to let anybody know that I had allowed myself to be put in that position. And that's when I was just determined I was going to make it work. You know, if I had to sleep in my car, I wasn't going to tell my children, my mom and them.
And night after night, you're probably, counting the nights, like how many more nights?
I mean, I was scared, but I think I was more scared to get pulled over.
Yeah.
Because if they took my car, I had nothing.
How did it feel to step into Gabriel's house that first night?
I was so happy to sleep in a bed.
Yeah.
I was happy to sleep in a bed.
I was 43 years old when I started using methamphetamine. There was some trauma that happened, and someone put it in my coffee to give me some pleasure, which then led into the addiction. So I went on this wild rampage of addiction, institutions, hospitals, all the above, never jail. I was lucky. It could have happened very easily. I have 2 older children and 2 younger boys that I raised that were my ex-husband's, who he has passed due to addiction. My family and my children, they couldn't handle it. So I decided to come to Gabriel's house because I found that it was a faith-based program, and that was really interesting to me. So that's what brought me to Gabriel's house. You can go to residential treatment. They're going to teach you whatever, and then your structure, whatever, and then you're out. They don't teach you how to live right. They don't. They don't teach you how to save up for what you need in life, like to get out there in the world. They just, you go do your program and you're done.
So here it's all.
Yes, it's all in one spot. If you would have asked me a year ago if I could ever be employed or have a job, I would have said absolutely not. No way. No way. And if you would have asked me, would I have my own vehicle? Would I ever have my own home again? No. Today I feel that. I honestly do. I know that. I have a job now, I have a vehicle. So yes, I have hope for my future.
I had lived on the streets, was into drugs, bad into drugs, didn't have a mom, didn't really have, well, I didn't have my dad. My sister was there, but she was just my sister. She's 5 years older than me, you know. I lost my brother. My brother got shot. He got shot when I was 16. He died in my in my arms. He was protecting me. He jumped in front of the bullet. That led deeper into drug use, and and that's when I was 16. And then it was just always me and my other brother. Got tired of going to jail. You know, I no longer had my kids with me. My kids went with my sister. I went to Tarzana to get treatment, and then I had to figure out where I was going to go after Tarzana, because if not, I was going back on the streets. And then my sister had told me about Gabriel's house, and that's how I ended up with the Gabriel's house number. Honestly, I was really scared, and I thought I wasn't going to stay here. I was so used to being on the streets that I would be like, no, I'm not staying here. Like, I had it like in my head, like I'll give it a week, but I'm not going to stay here. But something just felt right. Then I came here, you know, and found out I had cancer, and it's not one of a easy diagnosis to take in, but with the support of the women here, especially the staff here, like, I felt really comfortable. I never had anybody I could trust to go to with my feelings, kind of like, and so I just didn't know how it would turn out, and I was worried that I won't be able to work, so they're not going to let me stay here. I'm going to be on the streets. So at first, yeah, I was worried to tell them I even had cancer, because that was like my number one worry, because I know you had to work, and they weren't going to let me work. But I'm still here, and they've been by my side the whole way through. Anything is possible. Like, even when you're down at your deepest bottom, or you think that God's given up on you, He hasn't.
My life had kind of crashed in 2016, and CPS was involved. Mental health was in question. I was overwhelmed, and I was in a codependent relationship, but I couldn't see it. I couldn't see it. I just knew that I was glad to be away from my mom. I was glad to be away from my family. And so I did the best that I could. So I talked to my daughter, who's 20, and she says to come to Ventura to live with her for a little while and see how I like it and stuff like that. But when I got here, she was in a special program. And so people couldn't live with her. So I called 211, first place, Gabriel's house, and I thought, the Kingdom Center, it's got to be from the Lord, you know? And so I said, oh my gosh, Lord, you really do want me here. And so it took some time, and Melanie was so awesome. She actually called me one Saturday morning. She said, are you still looking for shelter? I said, yes. She says, did you get tested for, COVID and TB? And I had all those results, and so I was able to come.
How did you embrace that and embrace new schedules, rules?
Oh, here
all
at
kinds
the
of
house?
things? Yeah. Yes.
Well, I would say the staff is very understanding, and they're very committed to what they do and committed to what Gabriel's house stands for, which is hope. They're fully committed to the ladies here, and I can appreciate it, and I can see it, and when I can see it, I can move on the positive. I don't have to worry about that part, because I'm already concerned about every other little thing. And so it makes it feel like a real home. And that's when I met Vi, she was the first person I met, which was totally awesome. And that's what I love about it here, because then I'm free to be me, and I'm free to grow, and I'm free to, there's no fear, there's no shame. The Lord has given me this as an anchor. That's what Gabriel's house represents for me. It represents safety, and it represents stability. You know, and it gives me the space to be me, which is beautiful.
Oftentimes before somebody gets here, there's so many things that have fallen apart. It's not just, you know, they don't just show up here because I'm homeless, you know, there's a lot of things that have happened to lead up to that.
Yeah.
We get a lot of people that transition from sometimes treatment facilities that after they complete their alcohol and drug treatment, a lot of times they're homeless. So we do take a lot of people into the shelter from treatment facilities. And so it is helpful because I feel like they can continue to kind of work on their recovery. And I'm a substance use counselor, I'm certified, and I have a background in that. I feel like I can continue to help them through their journey. There's no better job than being able to give a helping hand, you know, and to really just care about people.
I love spending time with the girls and encouraging them and just giving them hope and, you know, just finding out about what makes them tick and what they need to progress in their life.
We're still a crazy family in here. You know, there's tears, there's arguments, there's joy, there's laughter, there's all of it. There's ugly days, but there's also reconciliation, and there's, you know, restoration, and there's truthfulness. And truthfulness isn't something that a lot of families are able to be. It's not easy to be authentic in your own family sometimes. But I think that here, people are learning to become authentic.
It is hard to let go, and like I said, we are happy that they, you know, when they leave and, you know, and they succeed and they make it, and I'm glad that they found this place as a home, a place of restoration. That's what we want to be for these ladies, a refuge.
Let's not forget our own backyard, our own Jerusalem, our own place of faith. Let's not forget to take care of our own, because we truly can. And Gabriel's house is living proof of that.